a break. Take a break. Take a deep breath. That's
Exactly.
what we were told for so many years.
So before we begin, we hope that everyone has been having sort of a nice holiday season, whatever the holiday season brings for you. We know there has been lots of drama with the airlines. So if you are one of those who had airline drama, I'm sorry. I hope you're somewhere safe and sound, whether it's home or on vacation or somewhere else, and that you have your luggage, most importantly. However, we will tell you the lesson that we teach everyone we travel with, which is carry on. Yes.
Always.
Yes,
Always carry.
always the plan to carry on, no matter where you're going. We have a carry on sort of people. So, but whatever it is, still not fun to have to search through the piles for your luggage. Okay, you have any other witty remarks to share with people before we begin?
Well,
That wasn't really that witty.
It was witty.
It wasn't really witty. Just
Really witty.
Yeah.
I might have some puns.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
You know
No, I
about
wouldn't.
puns.
I wouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, not on Shabbat.
Yeah. Should we sing a song? Just get people in the mood.
Let's sing a song.
Let's do it. All right. So we realize again, as we said last week, that some of you may not have the prayer book, and so for the most part, we're going to try to do either prayers that you know or that you can sing along to, or really just feel free to sing what you know or listen in. This will be a little bit of an abbreviated service again because we're watching from home. So, but we'll start with Hine Matov, which just means how good it is to be together as family and friends and one community, even if we are far apart.
What page can we find that on if we're following along?
Well, that was my point, is that most people aren't following along, and I accidentally brought home the giant prayer book instead of the regular prayer book, so the numbers are off. I think it's on page 10. Ella Raber would know. She knows all the pages. But in our giant prayer book, because I took the wrong one, it's so impressive looking, it's on page like 122. So we'll just sing Hine. Hine Matovu Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matovu Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Umanayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. All right, maybe let's do one more welcoming song. I really think in the actual prayer book, these are on page 10. We just have this funky, it's actually this exact same prayer book, but they make one that's just for Shabbat and one with everything. And I grabbed the one with everything. We don't use these at TI because they're super heavy. And when we were trying other prayer books, people complained. They weigh like 5 pounds. That's way too much to hold.
That's prayers for every day.
I know, exactly. Too many. You don't need the everyday.
All right.
All right, but so I think this in your prayer book is on page 10. If you've got the big one, it's 128. But let's do Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh av harachaman. Yedid Nefesh av harachaman. Meshoch avdecha. Eretz onecha. Yashach avdecha, yadadadadadada, Eretz onecha. Yedi nefesh av harachaman, Yedi nefesh av harachaman, Meshoch avdecha, Eretz onecha, Meshoch avdecha, Beautiful. All right, so if you want to light your candles with us, now is the time to get your candles out. Last week, I felt like there was too much of a reflection. Did something different. We'll see if it still works this time. So we'll take a moment and light our Shabbat candles. This kind of lighter I can do. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu le'adlik ner shel Shabbat. It's beautiful. We're going to move these away. Rabbi Michael, do you want to do Kiddush?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen. So we'll do a few other Kabbalat Shabbat songs to start tonight. One of them is one of the ones that Rabbi Michael talked about a little bit last week that was written in Sfat, where we just were with many of you just a few weeks ago. It feels like forever ago already. And Lecha Dodi is this acrostic poem that was written to help us bring in Shabbat and to think of this as a more special and sacred day than any other day of the year. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yadai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yadai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad Hishmianu el hamiuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad v'shem u'tiferet v'litchila Lecha Dodi likrat kala yadai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yadai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. We'll go to the last verse. Vo'i v'shalom ateret ba'ala gam v'simcha u'v'tzola toch emunei am segula Bo'i chala, bo'i chala. Beautiful. We could sense you singing along. Very nice. How about Michael? How about?
Where has the week vanished? It is written in our prayer book. Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished. Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat abide.
So as we explained to those of you who watched last week, and some of you may already do this when you watch from home, when the idea of having different sort of prayer choreography of standing and sitting, and that while each of these has a different meaning, really they're just supposed to help you get into not only a physical but also a mental space of prayer. But when we're just together and we're in our homes, if you prefer to not stand or to not bow or do whatever, that is totally fine. You are more than welcome to just stay in one place, and you can always, lift your hearts and your voices and your thoughts, even if you aren't lifting your body. So we'll turn to our Baruch, which is usually comes from the word berach, knees. There is a place where we sort of bend our knees and we rise together, but instead we'll just lift our voices and we'll join in our call to worship. La 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruch et Adonai. Hamelech Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. And we join in the words of Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher Anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta ba'am b'shitecha b'beitecha uvlechtecha b'derech ושוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there, except by joining hands, marching together.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדון בקודש, נורא תהילות, אוסף אלה, אוסף אלה. So we'll turn now to our avots or tefillah. This is the prayer that is the central part of our service. And again, while this one, if we were in person, we would rise, but instead we'll just lift our hearts and our bodies and our I guess the tops of our bodies. I said lift and then anyway, whatever.
Let's lift our hearts and our spirit, maybe?
Yes, I like that.
Okay.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agitei latecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora, El Hayom, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevii Geula Livnei Bneihem, L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham v'Ezrat Sarah. So we'll turn now to one of the following blessings that is included in our Amidah, in these prayers. It's a prayer for peace, and now more than ever before, we think about those all around the world as we get ready to start this new year and pray that it is a year of peace for us, for those in Israel, and for our brothers and sisters all around the world. Shalom Rav Yisrael. Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rab, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Ki atah melech ador, lechol hashalom. Ki atah melech ador, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rab, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rab, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael. B'chol tov v'choshav bishlomecha. Shalom Rab, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rab, Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. So we'll take a few moments now, and as I always say, this is not really in the order of our Siddur. It is, though, on page 253. This page, I know. This is the Misha Berach that we sing anytime we're thinking of those who are in need of healing. And I know that especially going into a new year, it can be so hard to do that with loved ones who are sick. And so we're thinking of many of you tonight. We're thinking of David and Henry. We are thinking of Yitzhak Ben Meir, of Arlene Alper, of Lisi Winehouse, of Marilyn, of Rebecca Span. We're thinking of everyone who is in need of a healthier year ahead. So with each of you in our hearts, we join in these words, asking God to bring a little healing to our way and the way of those we love. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotzeinu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotzeinu Mekor HaBracha Lavotzeinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. All right, so it wouldn't be Shabbat if we didn't have a few words of Torah. Do you want me to take you out of the picture a little bit so you don't have to see if I can.
Let's focus in.
Okay.
Go right.
Technology. So in the past few weeks, it's been strange. Actually, it's been several weeks now since we've been with you in person. First, for the 2 Shabbats when we were in Israel, and then last week when we also were having these services from home, which we do around Christmas and New Year's, so that our non-Jewish staff can actually have a little bit of time to themselves. But the bummer about all this, also because we had Shabbat Hanukkah in there, is that we have missed most of the Joseph story. Now, the Joseph story concludes next week, but it's a parsha that takes so long to tell that it's really one Shabbat after the next, and it's awesome because it's such a great story, but we have missed it this year. So tonight, what I wanted to do is Joseph in a nutshell. And, I often tell people you should go see the musical. It's really, as much as I love musicals, it's not really that great of a musical. So the story of Joseph goes like this. It starts with Jacob, his dad. Jacob has 4 wives, And so he's a pretty busy guy, and he ends up having a lot of children, more than a million worth of children. But he had a favorite wife. He had Leah and Bilhah and Rachel and Zilpah, but Rachel was really his favorite wife. And Rachel is only able to have one son, Joseph. And because Rachel is Jacob's favorite wife, it also means that Joseph is his favorite son. And he even gives Joseph this special coat that he can wear so that he knows he's the favorite. Now, you'd think that maybe Joseph would be a little bit modest, a little bit careful after that, but nope. Joseph is a little bit of an arrogant guy to his brothers. What makes it worse is that Joseph actually is kind of awesome. He has some skills that his brothers don't have, and he's always sort of rubbing it in their faces. And so one of these skills he has is that he can interpret people's dreams, which sounds awesome, but he starts interpreting his own dreams, and he says stuff to his brothers. He's like, hey guys, I had this dream, and in the dream I was the sun and you guys were the stars, and you were so much less bright than me. What do you think that means? And he would have all sorts of interpretations of dreams like that, all of which were super rude. And so after a while, his brothers get kind of sick of his arrogant ways, and so they decide that they don't want to deal with their brother anymore. It's the Bible, so it's sometimes a little bit more violent than we would like, and they decide that they should just kill him, which sounded like a perfectly reasonable idea. They're going to kill him, tell their father that he got attacked by a goat, which is a very embarrassing way to die, attacked by a goat. But as they're about to kill him, they instead realize that they could sell him into slavery instead, even better, then they get rid of their brother and they get some money to boot. So that's what Joseph's brothers do. They sell him into slavery. He starts working for this guy. He's sold into slavery, this guy Potiphar. When he's in Potiphar's house, Potiphar's wife gets a crush on him and he gets thrown into jail. While he's in jail, he starts interpreting other people's dreams. And again, he does a really good job of it. Turns out the two of the guys he's in jail with, that they work for Pharaoh. And when one of them gets out and goes back to Pharaoh's house, turns out Pharaoh is having some bad dreams. And this guy says, when I was in jail, I met this awesome guy who can interpret dreams. Maybe we should get him out of jail and we should see what he has to say. So they bring Joseph out of jail. Joseph is able to interpret Pharaoh's dreams for him. And it turns out that Pharaoh's dreams lead him to realize that Egypt, and really all of the Middle East, are about to have 7 fantastic years, followed by 7 years of famine. Joseph explains this to the Pharaoh, and Joseph says, if I were you, what I would do is I would save up on these 7 great years so that those 7 years of famine, you and all of Egypt have enough to survive. Pharaoh is so psyched about this idea that he brings Joseph on and he becomes his right-hand man. And he serves as Pharaoh's right-hand man for quite a while the rest of the Middle East, everyone is starving because no one else knew what Pharaoh knew because of Joseph's interpretations. Well, one day, Joseph is sitting there next to Pharaoh, being his right-hand man, and who comes in but Joseph's brothers? No, they don't recognize Joseph. Joseph looks really different, and, they thought he was probably dead. But Joseph recognizes them, and he decides that he wants to find out if his brothers have become good people. He does this by playing a trick on them. He sees that there has been another brother born since he's been gone. It turns out it's his whole brother. It's Rachel's other son. He puts a cup into Benjamin's bag, and then when the brothers leave, he says, "Stop, someone has stolen my cup." Now, what are they going to do? He knows very well that they could turn in Benjamin just like they did to their brother Joseph, him. But instead, the brothers step forward, Judah in particular, and Judah says, "Do anything, just don't take our brother Benjamin." And he goes on and he explains to Joseph, not knowing that he's Joseph, everything that happened when he and the brothers threw Joseph into a pit, sold him into slavery, and just how terrible it was. Once Joseph hears this, he realized that his brothers have become good people, that after all this time they have changed their ways, and he reveals himself and says, "It is I, Joseph, your brother. Does our father still live?" Okay, that took me maybe 4 minutes. I just saved you actually 3 whole weeks of the Torah portion. So now you would think though that the lesson from this parsha, especially on a new year like this one, that it would say to you, well, just like the brothers in the story, you too can take this new year as an opportunity to become better and to repent and to change your ways. And actually that would be a pretty good sermon and you could just leave it there. But I want to share with you something a little bit different. It matters that Judah is the one to go to Joseph and say, do not hurt our brother. It matters that Judah is the one to say, this is what we did wrong. And not just because we are Jews, we practice Judaism because of Judah. What you may not know is that 2 weeks back in the Torah portion, there was this little weird interlude just about Judah. We've actually only had one Bar Mitzvah student ever who chose to focus on this story because it's not a very nice story, but it is a good one. I'm not going to go into the whole story of Judah, but I'll tell you that what happens with Judah is Judah does a serious wrong by another person, just like he did to his brother Joseph. But on this time, it's his daughter-in-law Tamar, and Tamar holds him accountable. Tamar is the one who says to Judah, you cannot do this. You have to become a better man. These two stories about Judah learning how to change his ways, they are different. Because with the story of Judah and Joseph, it's just over time that finally Judah decides he's going to become a better person. And sometimes all we need is timing. Sometimes all we need is a new year to prompt us to be better. We need a new situation that will say, you know what, this is the year I'm going to be better. But most of the time what we need is a Tamar. We need someone who's actually going to hold us accountable and say to us, you could be better. You have done something wrong and it's time for you to change. And my friends, I think that this is the lesson that we're going to need going into this year. You know, when I think about the past year, really the past 2.5 years, and how often we've said, you know, now that COVID is over, whatever that means, and we've been waiting for this magical time when things will be better. And the truth is, maybe this will be the year when actually COVID truly is behind us and we can get back to normal. But I think you and I know that we are not back to normal. That even if things are better in terms of the pandemic, something has happened, especially in America these past few years. And many of us are not the kind and giving and sensitive people that once I'd like to think we were. People are angrier than ever before. People's tempers are short. People are acting in ways that should not be. And maybe what we need to do is act like Tamar. To look at ourselves and to look at the people around us and say, I think you could be better. We can hold ourselves and we can hold other people accountable and not just say, well, these past few years have been so hard. It's okay if everyone is behaving badly. It's not. This is a time when we can all be better. So let's take this opportunity to be both like Judah, but also like Tamar, to say that we can be better and to hold each other accountable to do the same. And to truly be able to make this year a year that we can all be proud of. All right, so I'm going to let Rabbi Michael back in the picture. Come on back, Rabbi Michael. So as we go into this new year, we know that there are many who are facing a new year and facing it without people who we love and who we're missing. Oh, let's make sure we find it here. Good. Okay. So, at this time, we're going to think of all of those. Oh, sorry, I think we lost you for a second there. Hopefully, you're back. So, at this time, we are thinking of all of those who we've loved and who we've lost. And so at this time, we recall their names, the names of those taken from us in recent days. We're thinking in particular of Leonid Yashinsky, of Dolly Newport, of Neil Rosenberg, of Patty Quito, and Teresa Dunback Patridge. We also now recall the names of the anniversary of whose death occurs on this Shabbat, and whose names have been inscribed in the archives of our congregation or on the wall of honor for a perpetual memorial. Isaac Apple, F. Burt Bear, David Toots Berger, Victor Bloomberg, Jack Brombird, Isidore Brown, Lillian B. Brown, Harry Cohen, Judith M. Cohen, Morris Cohen, Ruth Ann Cohen, Isidore Dankner, Mary Bradshaw Farrell, Ida Seidel Friedman, Joanne K. Frolickstein, Joseph Glazer Sr., Joseph Guggenheim, Sophie Heiling, Maud Heyman, Herman S. Hollander, Meyer Herman Isenberg, Sherry Kaplan, Doris Kaplan, Jeanette Grolnick-Koppler, Florence Baum Kurlander, Ida Seidel Friedman, Joanne K. Frolickstein, Joseph Glazer Jr., Joseph Guggenheim, Sophie Heiling. Oh, sorry. I read some of those twice, my fault. Jeanette Grolnick-Koppler, Florence Baum-Kurlander, Simon Landauer, Martin Landis, Wolf Levin, Alfred Thomas Levy, Mo D. Levy, Sally Levy, William M. Livingston, Irene Mandelbaum, Cindy Mannheimer, Anna Manis, Selma Cohen-Meyer, Lee Myers, Bernard Neumetzger, Maurice M. Newman, Mildred Roberts, Doris Sif Rawson, Helen Wolf Rubenstein, Gideon Schiller, Alexandra Schoenwald, Beatrice Sigaloff, Jacob Sigaloff, Alan Spetner, Fanny Horowitz Steinbaum, Fred Steiner, Joe Stone, John Stephen Thompson, Albert Weiss, Paul Wolfman. So those names and the names we keep in our hearts, we join together in the words of the mourner's Kaddish.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, ba'alma divrach yirteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayachon uvyomechon uv'chayeh dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'yizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam omei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei dekudesha b'richu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, ta'amiran ba'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael,
v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. We'll say one more time. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. All right, so for our closing song, there's really no Jewish version of Old Lang Syne. I don't even know what Old Lang Syne really means, but we have
It's
something
not an English
that kind of works. And this song is Bashana Haba'ah. And it is actually a song that some of you may know. Our daughter is singing it in her choir in Ladue schools, so maybe more people know this, but it's a folk song. And Bashana Haba'ah means in the year to come, and it's all about the wonderful things that we wish next year. We're going to sit on the porch and we'll count the birds, and children on vacation will play catch, and it'll be a great year. So we'll sing it for you. Bashana haba'ah nesheb al hamirpeset v'nizkor tzipurim nodedot, ילדים בחופשה ישחקו תופסת בין הבית לבין השדות. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. עוד תראה כמה טוב יהיה בשנה הבאה. And Otsire means you will see just how good it's going to be. So my friends, you will see, we cannot wait to see it with you together. May this be a new year of blessings and of sweetness. Any last words?
and of light and good health.
Beautiful. Shabbat Shalom, and we will see you next week back in person at Temple Israel. And be safe tomorrow nights.